Now, in order for these talks to actually reach your heart, it is a good idea to abide in presence with a quiet heart, receptive and open. You can see your own reaction to my words, to the sound of this room and so forth, quite clearly. Simply opening up to the way it is. The way it is appearing within your mind. The way life manifests in your mind. And simply to open up to that. In a very gentle way, keep your eyes on yourself. Not directed towards the future. What's in it for me? What can I get out of this? Not directed towards the past, but directed towards the fact that you are being right now. This is an undeniable truth for all of us, that there is some form of presence here, that you are here. It's something we cannot argue with. There's something that's here. Whatever that is, it is not existing tomorrow and it is not existing yesterday. It is existing now. Can you feel that? Can you notice this simple presence and beingness? This is just the feeling of being in this room right now. Throwing away all future. Throwing away all past. The first one is very scary for young people. Throwing away future. The second one is very scary for old people. Throwing away past. It's kind of all we have, isn't it? If our minds are untrained, if we have never heard that we are already here, then we are living as a slave to the future or the past or circumstances. That is not very liberating. It is not free at all. So in this meditation practice, we're cultivating this presence, which is not really something to be cultivated. It's already there. If I would ask you right now, for example, let's do this little exercise maybe, all together. Try to be you for the next 2 minutes. Go. I'd like all of you to do your best. Be you as good as you possibly can. Notice some people, they change their posture suddenly. A bit more upright. What does this mean actually? What am I asking of you here? To be you. What does that really mean? Most of the time we have only thing that's available right now are some stories in our head. What does it mean to be me? I'm kind of a cool guy, or maybe I'm supposed to be different. I'm too old for this. This is too deep. What does it mean to be you? Is that one thing, that one word that is so often it is used and it is so little understanding about it, is that I, me. and everything else that follows based on that, the entire story of life. So often is used. I'm here right now, and maybe you're tweeting that you just took a shower or something like that, and all that is based on this I that does these things. And then I have too many thoughts. I should work on that. I'm still too distracted. I can't meditate. It's all this I that, and yet we have no idea what it is. This I. That me. Is it something that you can show? Is it something even that you can clearly see? And then I would ask you the question, then what is seeing it? Oh, yep, I found it. It's right there in front of me. It's kind of cute. Then who are you watching it? Who is the one searching for it? Who is the one looking at it? Yeah, it's me, of course. What are you looking at? Me. I found it. Doesn't make sense, right? There's something fishy there with all that me, my, I business. Very strange. Is that one thing that seems most familiar, yet as soon as you take one little look, falls apart. And suddenly there's doubt. Yeah, then who am I then? Well, what am I? The more we become also present, and the more the thinking mind ceases to do its work, and there's just this silent awareness of what is. There's no more story in your head about who you are, who you should be, and so forth. Then it becomes more and more clear what you might be. Sometimes I do this exercise with these 2 minutes and try to be you. And then after 2 minutes, then I say to that person, all right, now stop. 2 minutes are over. Stop now. And for the next 2 minutes, try not to be you. And that's when most people get it. The absurdity of this. At first they were actually trying to be me. Okay, I'm trying to be me. Some people ask, well, what do you mean by that? Should I say something? Should I do something? That's what many people ask. And then, no, I say, try to be you. Okay, well, let me think about that. It's like the most obvious thing, but we make a problem out of it. And then when I say, okay, now try not to be you, then, I see what you mean. Then suddenly it becomes clear. Oh, I can never not be me. I'm just confused as to what I actually am, or what I'm not. You can put it either way. It's a general sense of confusion, and then for many people we then adapt some story, and we kind of place it over that state that doesn't know itself, that being that doesn't know itself. And we put that story on top of it like clothes. And then we walk around as that story. Basically, our entire life we are wearing this mask of conditioning continuously. Who you have learned to be. What media tells you how you should be like. How you should look like, what clothes you should wear, how you should feel like. always healthy, always happy. If that's not the case, you're wrong. You have to be fixed. If you're sad or something, it's something wrong with you. You have to be fixed. And throughout all of these stories, we just simply only see the mask all the time. We don't see what's behind the mask. Who's wearing all that stuff? Who's wearing all these clothes? Who's trying to get somewhere? We never ask that question. We just want to get somewhere. To the next moment, to the next thing, to becoming someone else. And also, unfortunately, for many people it translates into the spiritual path. We sit down and meditate and desperately try to be different. It's totally missing the point. Not only is that very unkind to yourself, it will not work. This is the wrong kind of approach. It doesn't lead to peace. It doesn't lead to actual relaxation. So we have to find something that doesn't take time, that is immediate. As the Buddha points it out, it is called akaliko, which is timelessness. It has to be something that is completely immediate, now, not later. Later doesn't really exist. Can you show me later? Is there anyone that can show me later? I got a bit of later in my pocket. You want to see? You can't produce it. You can't show any future to anyone. Whether it's 10 minutes time, we don't even know how we will feel like in 10 minutes time. I don't know what I will say in 10 minutes time. I have no idea. All I know is this. It's like this, now. So where is the peace in that? Where is all the relaxation and the happiness and the release in this moment? How can I find it? We can only find it if we first let go of past and future. Relax and let go of all forward thinking and all backward thinking. And we do that by listening to sounds or arriving here with the body. It's a very simple exercise to bring your attention into truth, into what is real. And the funny thing is, a funny side effect of that is, there is never a problem here. In the present, there is never a problem. A problem always is something that might happen, or that did happen. Maybe it did happen a minute ago. But now, if all thinking stops, it's gone. There is no substance. It's gone. It's so temporary, so short, momentary. But we think it back into existence all the time. We think it back. We think it back. It's a story of two monks. They're both coming to a river. And they're on alms round. The Thai monks, they always go in the morning on alms round. And so they went very far from the temple, and coming back, that they see this big river. And it's kind of a flood at this moment. And they see this young lady standing at the river wanting to cross, and she's very scared. She can't cross. And monks are not allowed to touch women in Thailand. So there's this one monk who just doesn't think. He just went over to this woman, picks her up, and carries her over the stream, and puts her down on the other side. And his friend just walks behind him. And so both monks are just continuing on their way. And they come back, after about an hour, they come back to the monastery. And as they enter the gate of the monastery, the friend of the monk who carried the woman, he can't hold it back anymore. He's like, man, what did you do? You touched a woman, you broke your vows. How could you? Why did you carry her? And the other monk turns around, surprised, and he says, what? You're still carrying her? is a little story, is a little example of how we tend to carry problems around in our mind, unable to let go, but it's so harmful and nobody really wants to suffer them, but we perpetually, it's almost like we're hungry for pain. We need it. Who would I be without my problems? Does the mind say? Yes, who would you be without your problems? And then that walking problem enters the temple and says, now I'm going to sit down and I'm going to meditate to get rid of all my problems. And it's creating the next problem, really. I want to become someone else. Now I want to become spiritual and deep and profound and only talking wisdom all the time and smiling all the time and being always kind to others and nice. And that would be ideal. And I need the ideal. You know why? Because it makes you suffer so much. There's some sort of addiction to suffering inside most people. We get ourselves into trouble again and again, and no one wants to be in trouble. No one wants to feel bad. No one wants to feel down. Yet, the whole world, look at it. People constantly feel bad and down and no energy, you know. Most people are not who they should be, in their own opinion, in their own minds. We're not who we should be. I'm not who I should be yet. I should be a stream winner. I should be something at least, but not this. Not this mind. Not these emotions. I'm a wreck. I'm an emotional wreck. I get angry if someone looks at me. This is wrong. It should not be like that. But it is like that. The Buddha encourages every one of his followers to look at truth, not at fiction. So what is truth? Well, there is anger. Or there is happiness. And it is like this. I don't need to express it and I don't need to suppress it. I simply see it. And as I look clearly at what is going on there, the Tibetans say kind of nicely, it liberates itself. It disbands into emptiness. It disappears. All by itself, because there's no further input. You're able to host the entire world without being affected by anything. This is true freedom. I like to give that example of a mirror. It doesn't matter what you reflect in the mirror, it doesn't hurt or harm the mirror. You can hold a candle in front of it, the mirror doesn't burn. It doesn't feel hot. You put an ice cube in front of it and it doesn't feel cold. So what am I suggesting here? Am I suggesting that we all should become some sort of numb, unidentified kind of aware blob that doesn't feel alive anymore, as just only aware? No, of course not. Underlying, there is something that is underlying to every experience, and it is quiet, peaceful, unshakable. That is what we are setting out to find. You could also say the center of your beingness, the center of presence, the center of awareness, however you want to call it, the knower, the one who knows. Awareness, consciousness, there's many words for it. I'm not pointing to the words, I'm pointing to the experience of that. This clarity, this wakefulness that can know and taste itself, that is underlying to all experiences that you have. Right now, as you're listening to me, I'm always trying to give you the practical experience when I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you. I don't want you to absorb information and then go out there and have a bit of more information. You can Google that too. but I would like you to feel what I'm talking about right now. Why delay? Why wait? So as you're listening to me, look at your own heart right now. You can hear my words and you can understand them, and at the same time you notice that your mind is quiet. That is what I mean by an underlying sense of present. It's still, it's quiet. It is able to receive reality as it arises and passes, without arising and passing by itself. Can you notice that? That as you are hearing my words, the heart is quiet, your center is quiet. And it is not only quiet, but it is also spacious, unrestricted. Can you feel that? Can you sense it? It is unbound. It is not tied up by anything. And you can do something as amazing as that, as actually listening and comprehending my words while at the same time resting in your beingness. It's pretty amazing. And that there is something else also to that beingness, to that unshakable place. It is very joyful. It is full of energy. There's an incredible happiness in just being. It's actually quite sad that we don't learn this stuff at schools or when we grow up as a little baby or something like this. This is the most vital thing in our life, is to find something that is not subject to suffering, that isn't caught up in the pain, that isn't a victim of circumstances. It's called, in Buddhism, it is called a refuge. Why is it called a refuge? For the very reason that pain cannot reach you there. It doesn't touch it. The more we can tap into this, sink into this, relax into this, the more you will also notice that it has answers also. That this silence inside of the heart naturally produces answers. So this is what we cultivate in meditation. So ideally you want to sit down every day and practice formal sessions, sitting down and doing formal practice. If you can, if you find the time. It's not everyone always has time. Many of us are very busy. Sometimes you come home from work, you're really, really tired, you just can't sit. Okay, sit the next day. Take it easy, don't beat yourself up. It's not serious stuff. It shouldn't be heavy. The path is not something that should feel heavy and joyless, you know. I didn't do my practice today. Such a loser. I wonder if I can ever get it. You know, don't fall for that stuff. Don't try to be very serious about it. Relax. It's fun to do it. You're sitting down for your meditation practice for the same reason that you would sit down in front of YouTube. You're sitting down to be entertained, to have fun, to have a good time. Why do you sit down in a coffee shop and have a latte? Why? Because it feels good. So meditation is the same thing. You sit down, you should give yourself a break. It feels good. Something that feels good. Connect that with your thinking. Each time you sit down, you do this noise. It feels good to be here now. Finally, I have arrived. So you do your formal sessions. But is that enough? No. Let's say you do an hour of formal session every day, half an hour in the morning, half an hour at night. Enough? Not really. It won't do the trick. It will boost the time that comes immediately after the session. You'll feel inspired and uplifted and kind of nice, but that will quickly wear off. And then the everyday grind usually comes back. And then we interact with people, we go to work, we run here, we run there, we have responsibilities, and our mind fills up. And we lose our sense of presence, we lose the joy of being. So we do the session in the evening, we're full of exhaustion, we just want to rest, It's then difficult. So we have to kind of stay on point. You have to have this kind of connective thread between two sessions, connecting the two sessions during each day. What happens between one session and the other? How do we practice? What are we supposed to do? How do I do it? So it's very simple actually. When you walk, know that you're walking and stay with that. Make walking your practice. Do that for a week straight. Just only take walking, because if you try everything, it will not work and you'll end up frustrated. So you practice with walking. Maybe start more simple even. Just only walking around my house. That is something that's realistic. You can actually cultivate more awareness in that space. Maybe not for the entire day. I need to be aware when I'm walking. It's too much. Take it step by step. Little baby steps. Every step counts. Every time you are actually doing something with awareness, you're building strength. You're accumulating the power of wakefulness. So you keep collecting like this. It's good. Each time your attention comes back, it eventually becomes an automatic habit. It's kind of mindfulness just kicks in. When you are cleaning the house, when you are, I don't know, what is it that you do regularly every day? Open doors. Each time you enter a new room, establish mindfulness. Do stuff like that. Each time you have a conversation with someone else. Make it your goal, all right, today. In the morning you can tell yourself, so today, each time I will talk with someone, I will establish mindfulness, and I will listen to my own sound while I talk. Just simply knowing the fact that you're talking like this. It's possible. So I'm doing it right now. I hear myself. You can do that too. Everyone can. And when you lie down, then you know that you're lying down. And you add, and you add, and you add. Eventually, when you dream, you know that you dream. And in each moment, you access that underlying space of beingness, that joyful presence. You recharge your batteries. You fill the tank of wakefulness, you can say like that. This is our practice, this is how we cultivate. Whatever you do, know what you're doing. Cultivate it in little steps and pieces, don't try too much. Some people have the habit of, oh, all right, I'm going to be only wakeful for a week now. I won't sleep, I will always be mindful, that sounds great, I need that. That's the wrong approach. You will set yourself up for failure, it will not work. It's only frustration. Similarly, when you do your seated session, then focusing on the breath and trying to accumulate as many breaths as possible with mindfulness, it doesn't work like that. It needs to be more easy. Just use that one breath. Are you mindful for one breath? Great. Can you do two? Fantastic. Like that. So take it step by step. Don't try too much. And so you connect the session and your daily schedule, whatever that might be. That is very necessary. Otherwise, it doesn't go deep enough. Always kind of scratching on the surface. Some of you are new today. You might wonder why all that. Very simple. Happiness. That's why. Letting go of suffering, being happy. If you let go of suffering, happiness is natural. Happiness is your natural state. Suffering is your unnatural state, you can say. It's what's not original to you. Suffering is not original to you. Happiness is. Peace is. I'm not talking about hooray, yippee, yay, happiness. You have to talk about a deep sense of satisfaction and bliss. That is something that is innate. All right, so I think for today, that's good enough. Thank you very much for coming.